know you see the waves. I know you see it. I know you see it. But anyway, let's get back to the video, man. So pretty much two previous videos made a little intro on basically how I got into engineering. Second video was like things I wish I knew before pursuing engineering. And then this third video right now, I'm pretty much gonna be going over the obvious. What's the obvious? Well, I'm black, and engineering is one of those majors as of right now. It's not really a whole lot of black people in engineering, so I thought about, you know what, let me make a video on what's it like being black in engineering, right? So if I'm being completely honest with you, being black in engineering was definitely a concern of mine when I first enrolled, because I'm like, when I think about my environment, how I grew up, I didn't know what an engineer was until I was 20 years old. I knew what a drug dealer was. I knew what a rapper was. I knew what an athlete was, right? Football player, basketball player, boxer, all that stuff. I knew what that was. And you know what I mean? People that made a lot of money, that's kind of how I looked at it. Like, I knew what a doctor was, knew what a lawyer was, but the way my grades were looking like in high school, I knew that just wasn't gonna happen. And especially with me going into four high schools and four high schools each year for like ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. It was just like, man, bro, like I just didn't see a way for me to get that type of money. And so yeah, bro, it was definitely nerve-wracking going into engineering as a black person and not knowing any black people that were engineers. But luckily, at my job, the factory I used to work at, I met two engineers that were black. And so, you know, both of them were in, they were mechanical engineers. And so it was great asking them questions. Mind you, I was asking them questions, bro, almost like interrogation questions, like interview questions, because I had to get all the information before I went in there. And so, you know, going into it being black, I think like now I don't really notice it, but I'm definitely aware like when I'm the only black guy in the classes. Cause I know like early on, if I'm being honest with you, like with the prerequisite classes, like I saw like black men, black people in the classes, but then as I moved forward, leveling up in the curriculum, I saw less and less and less, less and less and less black people. And yeah, man, it was like, man, heartbreaking, you know, gut wrenching to know like, man, like the guys that I was cool with, they dropped like flies. You know, they gave up. They switched majors. They quit. They found something else to pursue. And so, you know, being black in engineering, if I'm being honest with you, it's really not that special. I'm not gonna say it's not that special. That's crazy, but it's not something like I don't feel like I'm treated differently because I'm black. That's what I mean. Like, I don't think it's like, oh, you're black, we don't believe in you. You know what I mean? It was just like one of those things where I made it what I wanted to make it. And so right now, so I live in the South, right? I live in Tennessee for context. And racism is regular in Tennessee. You know, prejudice is regular. You know, racism is real. And one thing I could say about engineering was one of those things where I didn't feel like I was looked at as a black person. I felt like I was looked at as a student first, black person second, right? Now, you know, anybody could have their prejudice and have their feeling towards you in their mind, but I didn't feel like that. You know what I mean? I'm around these nerds, bro. You know, I'm around people that care about math and science. And so I'm around all these different people that I wouldn't have been around without school. And it's like, bro, you know, like I felt very welcome, very included, because I mean, it was one of those things where like like engineering is just STEM in general is either you know it or you don't. You know, 2 plus 2 is 4 no matter what. And so if like I was a math tutor, I was pretty good at math. And so me helping people with math, like the calculus 1, 2, and 3, you know what I mean? It was one of those things where it's like, bro, if you have the knowledge, bro, like no one's looking at you like you're a black person, bro. I felt like a person first before my race. And that was a great feeling. If I'm being honest with you, that was a great feeling. But being black in engineering, granted, there's not that much representation, but it's almost like when you do see it, it's very appreciated. Like let's say I'm black and I got a classmate that's black, like you notice that immediately and it's like a mutual respect. That's something that I've noticed. And going from a community college to a university, now I see even more black students, which is cool. I like it. I even see black professors, and I think engineers are just different, bro. Like it's like I mean, this is from my experience. This is like coming from an autobiographical experience from me. Somebody else may have a different experience, but one thing I notice, like fully, is like, bro, like the knowledge comes first before all that like race and prejudice stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's just a good vibe, bro. It's just a good vibe, and like more on being black in engineering. Like there's a lot of organizations. Like there's one like NSBE, and there's like a whole bunch of networking events for black people like Afrotech. And like bro, it's so much opportunities out here, bro. Like I'm black in engineering and I don't feel less than. And that's a big thing, bro. That's a big thing I want to put out there. That's why like in the previous videos, the main theme I keep bringing up is mindset, mindset, mindset. So I'm around like foreigners, like people of Indian descent, people of Asian descent, you know what I mean? Caucasians. And we you know, we if you've been around long enough, you've heard the stereotypes about, oh, these people are, so smart, this and that. But again, right, I believed in the same thing too, because I didn't grow up around that diverse of people, right? And so being around them and studying with, different people, you realize like, oh, it's not a, it's not a, it's not a, it's not a, they just had their wisdom, they had their not their intelligence just gifted from the sky. Bro, they work so hard, they put so much effort, they put the hours in. And so like seeing that not only motivated me, but in my mind, it's kind of like it even the playing field where you're not better than me, I'm not better than you. It's like you're the grades that you get is literally a reflection of the effort that you put in for the course, and if I'm being to be completely honest, a lot of the students that come from foreign countries, they come into undergrad much more prepared than American students. So a lot of the times when you're with these students and they're performing at a high level, most of the time they've seen the material before you. So again, going into college, university, even life, I don't compare myself to nobody, because I'm a believer that comparison is a thief of joy, you know? And so this is my race. This is my life. I'm running my race. And I got to say the same thing for you. This is your life. This is your race. So don't worry about what the next person is doing. Focus on you. Congratulate yourself. There's times where I get a 70. I get a C, you know? My C stand for champion. Yeah, you got an A. Yeah, that person got a B. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about my race and my performance. So, you know, I don't want this video to be too long, but yeah, man, being black in engineering, you stand out. And for me personally, I can't speak for everybody. I use it as motivation. You know, I got to make black people look good because I know that how I conduct myself is going to be a representation for black people, especially when you're around people that, you know, you can tell they're not around black people. And being around you, being around me is the most that they're going to get. So, yeah, man, I know I'm keeping it vague, straight to the point, but feel free to ask me questions if you have any in the comments below. See you in the next video.